People are spending more than $1,000 per month buying new cars. Due to COVID and supply chain inflation plus demand supply imbalance, car prices have gone up significantly higher in last few years. According to AAA, about 17% of people are paying over four-digit $1,000 monthly payments buying new cars. According to AAA, the average price of new payments is around $728 for new cars, and for old cars it's quite a bit lower. People are paying on an average $533 buying old cars, and in terms of lease, people leasing cars, average payments are $597. In terms of car ownership cost, overall ownership is $12,180 per year. That brings down to about $1,015 per month in 2023. This includes monthly payments, fuel, maintenance and repairs, registration fees, taxes, car payment insurance, premium insurance, and depreciation. Depreciation is a big component at the beginning of a car. First 1 or 2 years, the car depreciates about 15 to 20%. Here is this graph that shows a very sharp decline whenever a new car is purchased. That slowly tapers down. So on an average, the car loses about 15 to 20% right after you buy a car after 1 year. And this depreciation continues for about 4 years at about 15% per year. So the car loses a lot of its value in first 4 years. So in this video, we'd like to discuss, since car prices are so expensive and people cannot afford this high prices, what should be the right amount of affordability given current the condition. This affordability factor depends on one's income level, as credit score, and a couple of other factors we'll discuss. Average cost of a new car in 2023 stands at $48,008, which was slightly higher in 2022 at $49,507, and in 2018 it was $37,577. So the prices have significantly gone up. In terms of distribution of prices, in terms of compact, mid-compact, and SUV, it's clustered around the SUV meets the larger, more luxurious cars in this distribution that you can see. When buying a car, people tend to overspend as people are associated their prestige and status with whatever car they own, and at times they kind of forget about their economic, the budgets, and overspay. Say for example, currently people should not be spending over 33% of their income in terms of determining their appreciation in their affordability. That 35% is kind of high, which will be pushed by the dealers, as the dealer, they want to sell higher and higher prices to their consumers. So the actual right amount should be 25%. That one should not exceed 25% of your yearly income while purchasing a car. So in this table, I will show you how much one can afford based on their income. Say for example, starting from 30,000, 40,000 at 10,000 increments all the way, then jumping over 100, 110, 20,000 to 200,000. How much one can afford if you spend at 35%, which is not a very conservative estimate. When you spend 25%, which should be more reasonable and more conservative, that is the amount one should be spending, not over this 25%. That should be the limit one should not exceed buying cars. This is the affordability level. Say if you're earning 37,000, you should not exceed more than 7,500, which is 25%. Similarly, when you're making 40K, you should not be spending more than $10,000. At 80,000, you should not be going over 20,000. 50,000 when you're making 200K. That is kind of like a ballpark estimate how much it will be spending. On the other hand, there is another rule, which is 24-10 rule. That is a good guideline for determining affordability. What does this 24 and 10 rule really means? 20 means the first of these three parameters. It determines the down payment that one should be able to pay 20% of the purchase price of the car. Say for example, the price is usually what is determined by MSRP, manufacturing suggested retail price. Plus these days there is a big markup. Sometimes during the COVID time, some markups used to be as much as the actual price of the car itself because of the availability of products. People are wanting more cars than cars available, so dealers used to mark up big prices. So once you determined on the prices, you should be able to put down 20% down payment. The middle parameter in 24-4 is the term loan, meaning that you should be able to pay down the balance in 4 years or 48 months. One can determine basically say I want to take a 3-year loan, 4-year loan, 5 years, 6 years. So in terms of months, 36, 48, 60, 72 months. And the last parameters, 10% of is your overall income. That is the net adjusted income after you pay your taxes and deductions. You should not be exceeding over 10% of your income in terms of spending on your car. That includes all your monthly payments, insurance, gas, maintenance, and other fees, etc. Say for example, I have put together this table that shows that given your income, what is the affordability based on this 10% rule. So if you're making 40,000 in the yellow row, 10% of which is 4,000 per year, so you divide it by 12 stands at $333.33. So you could actually divide your income after taxes and depreciation, divide by 120. That would actually give the indication of your affordability. Similarly, for 60,000, the amount is $500. If you make $100,000, it's $833.33. If you make 150,000, you can spend $1,255. That includes your monthly payment, fuel, maintenance, repairs, registration fees and taxes, your car insurance premium, etc. Now, once you determine your monthly payment, there are calculators. I will put the link below. How to determine what should be the prices of the vehicle that I can afford. So in this calculator, I have seen you two scenarios. Once you're paying 48 months and the other one is 60 months. So the input parameters you need to pay. So the first parameter is proposed monthly payments. That monthly payments we just determined from the table a minute before. So once you enter in there, and the 48 months that the 2010 rules say 48 months, and you can also figure it out if you're buying a new car or the used car. And another very important factor, I really would like to highlight this about your credit standing, credit score. Say if I'm putting here medium 660 to 760, it will determine you the annual percent rate, which is a 6.88%. So in this calculator, it will indicate that the maximum amount you could afford is 20,928 and 72, and it will also indicate how much interest payments you will pay. So both this the upfront, like the paying the purchase price plus the interest will indicate your total payment. So in this particular case, it will add to about $24,000 because you bought the car $500 a month for 48 months. It is basically for 4 years. Per year it stands at about $6,000. For 4 years it will be $24,000. Similarly, on the another scenario, when you actually want to take a longer premium, the financing agreement for 60 months, 5 years, the calculator will indicate for the same APR interest rate 6.88%, you will be able to afford a more expensive car at $25,323.33, and you will end up paying interest payments on that $4,676. Why you can pay higher like the more amount of money? Because you'll be paying for 60 months instead of 48 months. So you could buy a more expensive cars, but on the flip side, you will end up paying a larger interest payments. So I showed you what is the interest payment you'll be paying, which is the difference between $4,676 minus $3,071 for the other scenario. So you will end up paying about $1,605.38 just by extending the term premium by 1 year. So oftentimes the dealer might say, oh, you can buy larger cars, you can buy a BMW instead of buying a Toyota Corolla. They will get keep hinting you take a longer financing period and influence your opinion. But your the excitement about buying a new car, actually that might fizzle out after a couple of months, but the car will be sitting in your driveway for for the rest of your 4 or 5 years, and you'll be paying for it. So please do think carefully, what should be the right amount of affordability, so that you do not get stressed out of your the budgets and overspend by buying more and more expensive cars. So this is the way you actually should be figuring out a guideline how much you should not exceed buying more expensive cars. Also in this particular at the number, say to $20,928, if you are doing any trade-ins, if you have your old cars or other cars, you're selling it off, or the down payment, say 20%, we have told you, say for example in this particular case, if you are putting 20%, say around $4,000 down payment, you can add that to this number, say, or if you had a trade-in, say $2,000, so $2,000 plus this $4,000 down payment, which is $6,000. So you can add this $2,928 to $6,000. So you could actually afford $2,692.08. Hope you understood. Basically that you can add your trade-in value and the down payment to this particular number. But you should be able to manage this $500 payment, all your payments, insurance, maintenance, and other kind of things. Then another thing we'd like to highlight at this particular point, that how can you reduce your other expenses in owning your vehicle. Another thing you could think about the insurance factor. The insurance, if you're taking insurance like a bundling products, say if you're the insurance agent, you've been taking other products like home insurance or life insurance or other things. If you buy a vehicle, if you want to buy it, you can ask for any kind of bundling discount for adding your vehicle. Another thing you could perhaps do is shopping around. If you look into other insurance companies like Progressive or Geico or State Farm, how much would be your insurance, and if you're a good vehicle, a good driver, you should be able to, like, year by year, if your driving record is better, people some insurance company may give you a discount, and if you can go back to your insurance company and say that you have a better rates, and oftentimes they can match your a best offer, or in that way people can send, like, 5-10% sometimes, saving in your insurance monthly premiums. That's one of the ways. The other things you could think about is the depreciation. I told you that the cars depreciates very first couple of years. So if you get a good car with a limited mileage, if you buy a car, say, which is about 3 or 4 years, the actual depreciation wears out. So you should be able to get a smaller, like a lower expensive cars at a good condition, and save your overall, like, because the car price is going to be lower, your monthly payment is going to be reducing, and also you would have avoided the huge amount of depreciation at the beginning of first 3-4 years. So whenever you buy a car which is like 3 or 4 years or 5 years old, and limited number of mileage, you could buy those kind of cars. And another thing I want to highlight about the buying the car versus leasing. So what is the difference? There are some pros and cons of leasing or buying the car. When you're leasing, your monthly payment tends to be lower, depending on how many years you're going to be dying. But there are some kind of cons. Say, for example, you're not going to be any of your, building any equities on your car, or the car dealer, they may have like limited number of mileage. Say you cannot exceed more than 12,000 or 15,000 miles a year, otherwise there will be some kind of penalties. But the thing is, you can buy new cars every couple of years. That's like the pros. So there are both pros and cons. While you buy the car, your monthly payment tends to be higher than leasing the car. But that is the cons. The pros would be you'd be building equity on your car when you buy this car. At the same time, but you will lose the depreciation of the car. That is a cons. So there are both pros and cons in buying the car. Also, another thing is that sometimes if you pay the full payment upfront in a car, and if the depreciation is very high, actually you could be underwater buying this car. Say, for example, if the car values depreciates, say if you buy the car for $30,000, you lose $6,000, and if you want to sell the car within a year, you may not be able to recoup all the loan money that that's whatever you'd have agreed upon, because the car would have depreciated. That should be a negative factor. So hopefully these are the things I want to discuss today. Hope you like this video and informative. If you like this, please do subscribe this channel, and if you have any comments, I would really appreciate. And if you like this button, please hit the like button. And thank you very much, and happy car purchase. Hope you can save some money with this video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.